111. Mahāparivāra, the blessed one named Vipassi, the world's best one, the bull of men, entered Banduma city then, with 68,000 arahants. Having come out from the city, he went to the shrine of the lamps. I saw the Buddha, stainless one, sacrificial recipient, 80,000 minor spirits, who then attended reverently upon Indra, and the 33 were also there in my presence. When he rose from meditation, I picked up a piece of cloth there. I worshipped him with my head bowed. Then I gave it to the great sage. Oh, the Buddha! Oh, the teaching! Oh, our teacher's great achievement! Through the power of the Buddha, he made the earth itself to quake. And having seen that miracle, marvel making hair stand on end, I pleased my heart in the Buddha, the biped Lord, the neutral one. Then I, having pleased my heart in the biped Lord, the neutral one, giving that cloth to the teacher, went up to him to take refuge. In the 91 eons since I did that good karma back then, I've come to know no bad rebirth. That's the fruit of Buddha Puja. In the 15th aeon ago, there were 16 named Vahana, will turning kings with great power, possessors of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Mahāparivāra spoke these verses. The legend of Mahāparivāra is finished. 112. Sumaṅgala, Athadasi, the best victor, the world's best one, the bull of men, setting out from the monastery, came up to the lake near my home. The Sambuddha bathed and drank there, then he got out, and in one robe, the blessed one stood on that spot, surveying all the directions. While dwelling in my residence, I saw the leader of the world, shining like the 100-rayed sun, glittering like well-crafted gold, and happy with a happy heart. I then snapped my fingers so to conduct dances and also songs, and the 5 kinds of music there. In whichever womb I'm reborn, whether it's human or divine, I surpass all other creatures, and my glory is abundant. Praise to you, O well-bred person. Praise to you, ultimate person. Having made yourself happy, sage, now you are pleasing all others. Having accepted, sitting down, the one with good vows caused laughter. I having served the Sambuddha, was then reborn in Tusita, in the 16th aeon ago.
11 Ekaśanitas,
were will-turners with great power, possessors of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Sumaṅgala spoke these verses. The legend of Sumaṅgala is finished. 113. Saraṇagamanīya, the battle between both god kings, had by then come into being. A huge crowd was gathered for it, making a very loud racket. Paṭicchannasaraṇika, world knower, sacrificial recipient, the teacher standing in the sky, then made many people feel moved. All of the gods were delighted. Their weapons and mail were thrown down. Having worshipped the Sambuddha, they then stood off to one side there. Discerning what we were thinking, the compassionate world knower uttered majestic words just then, bringing many to nirvana. One man with evil in his heart might harm a single living being. Because of that stain on his heart, he will be reborn in some hell. An elephant on the battlefront might harm so many living beings, but if he cools off his own heart, he won't be killed repeatedly. Both of the armies of those 2 spirit kings were then astonished, and they went to the world's best one, the neutral one, to take refuge. After he'd convinced the people, the Eiffel one then rose upwards, and being seen by all the gods, he departed, facing the north. I was first to go for refuge, to the biped Lord, neutral one. For 100,000 eons, I've come to know no bad rebirth. In the 30,000th aeon, there were 16 chariot bulls, kings who turned the wheel of the law. All were named Mahadundabai. the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Saraṇagamanīya Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Saraṇagamanīya Thera is finished. 114. Ekaśaniya. Back then I was the king of gods, known by the name of Varua. I attended the Sambuddha as his vehicle of power. When Athadasi, the best man, Lord of the world, reached nirvana, supplying all the Turiyas, I went to the best Bodhi tree. As though facing the Sambuddha, I attended on the best Bodhi, with music and with dances too, well accompanied by cymbals. After having served that Bodhi tree growing up from the earth there, having eaten with my legs crossed, I passed away right on the spot, delighting in my own karma, pleased in that superb Bodhi tree. Due to that pleasure in my heart, I have achieved nirvana now, and 60,000 instruments are attending me all the time, as I move on from birth to birth, among humans and also gods. The 3 fires are blown out in me. All new existence is destroyed. I am bearing my last body. In the Buddha's dispensation, in the 500th aeon hence, there were 34 Kshatriyans, all of whom were named Subahu, possessors of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Ekaśaniya Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Ekaśaniya Thera is finished. 115. Suvaṇṇapupphiya. The blessed one named Vipassī, the world's best one, the bull of men, sitting down preached the deathless state to the body of people there. After having heard the teaching of that biped Lord, neutral one, I then offered to the Buddha for flowers made out of fine gold. There was a canopy of gold stretched over the whole crowd back then. From the Buddha's light and the golds, there was a vast effulgence there. Happy with rapture in my heart, thrilled, with my hands pressed together, with joy produced for those who heard, conveying pleasure to the world, having invited the Buddha, worshipping the compliant one, experiencing great delight, I then returned to my own house. Having entered my residence, I called to mind the best Buddha. Due to that pleasure in my heart, I was reborn in Tusita. In the 91 eons since, I offered that flower to him. I've come to know no bad rebirth. That's the fruit of Buddha Puja. There were 16 different kings then, all known as Nemasamita, in the 43rd aeon hence, will turning monarchs with great strength. The 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Suvaṇṇapupphiya Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Suvaṇṇapupphiya Thera is finished. 116. Citakapūjaka. When Siki the Blessed One, the kinsman of the world, passed away, I then lived in the royal sphere, with the ministers and servants. Happy and with a happy heart, I went to the shrine built for him. Having Turiya drums played there, I laid a garland of flowers. Having done puja at that shrine, and worshipping the shrine itself, happy and with a happy heart, I then returned to my own house. Having entered my residence, I called to mind that shrine puja. Through that deed for the biped Lord, the world's best one, the bull of men, having enjoyed great happiness among humans and also gods, I've attained the unshaking state, beyond all conquest and defeat. In the 31 eons since, I offered that flower to him. I've come to know no bad rebirth. That is the fruit of shrine puja. In the 29th aeon thence, there were 16 different kings then, all known by the name Ugata, will turning monarchs with great strength. The 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Citakapūjaka Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Citakapūjaka Thera is finished. 117. Buddhasaṇñaka. When Vipassī, top of the world, abandoned life's constituents, the land, and girdled in water, the very earth did quake back then. When the Buddha's life was finished, my dwelling was also shaken, and my ornamental hair wreath was stretched and pulled apart by that. When my residence was shaken, I was terrified to feel it, and for whatever reason then, there was a vast effulgence there. Vesava, having come here, dispelled the fears of the people. There's nothing for beings to fear. Be calm, exercise self-control. Oh, the Buddha. Oh, the teaching. Oh, our teacher's great achievement. Also when he was being born, the earth itself did quake back then. After he praised Buddha's power, I thrilled an aeon in heaven. During the remaining eons, I did lots of wholesome karma. In the 91 eons since, I obtained that perception then. I've come to know no bad rebirth, the fruit of perceiving Buddha. In the 14th aeon ago, I was a majestic monarch, known by the name of Samitta, a wheel-turner with great power. The 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Buddhasaṇṇaka spoke these verses. The legend of Buddhasaṇṇaka is finished. 118. Maggasāraṇika. Paṭicchannasaraṇika Buddha's own followers, who were forest monks, were lost in a giant forest, wandering there like they were blind, calling to mind the Sambuddha, Paṭicchannasaraṇika, the leader, and they who were that sage's sons, lost in the great forest by then. Descending from my residence, I went to where the monks were then, and having shown the road to them, I also gave them food to eat. Due to that deed for the biped Lord, the world's best one, the bull of men, being only 7 years old, I attained my arahantship. In the 500th aeon hence, there were 12 wheel-turning monarchs, known by the name of Sakaku, possessors of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Maggasāraṇika spoke these verses. The legend of Maggasāraṇika is finished. 119. Paṭicchannasaraṇika. Right when well-gone Athodasi had achieved final nirvana, I was born in a spirit's womb. I possessed great glory back then. It's a bad attainment for me, a bad dawn, a bad arising, that I should find such opulence. When the Eiffel ones passed away, discerning what I was thinking, the follower named Sagara, with a wish for my upliftment, then came into my presence there. Why are you grieving? Do not fear, O you knower of the teaching, by the Buddha have been given the seeds of everyone's success. He who'd worship the Sambuddha, Siddhartha, leader of the world, should worship even one small bone. After the final nirvana, when the heart's pleasure is the same, there is the same priceless merit. Therefore, having built a stupa, worship the victor's relics there. After hearing Sagara's words, I then built a Buddha stupa. For 5 years I attended to that sage's ultimate stupa. Due to that deed for the biped Lord, the world's best one, the bull of men, having enjoyed great happiness, I attained my arahantship. In the 7th aeon ago, there were 4 named Burapana, will-turning kings with great power, possessors of the 7 gems, the 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Paṭicchannasaraṇika spoke these verses. The legend of Paṭicchannasaraṇika is finished. 120. Jatūpūjaka. When Vipassī Buddha was born, there was a vast effulgence there. The earth itself quaked in response, as did its oceans and mountains. They interpreted the omens. A Buddha is born in the world, the top of all living beings, who will lift up all the people. Having heard news of the omens, I performed puja for the birth. There is no puja quite like the puja that is done for the birth. Having brought my own heart pleasure, restraining myself wholesomely, after doing that birth puja, I passed away right on the spot. In whichever womb I'm reborn, whether it's human or divine, I surpass all other creatures. That is the fruit of birth puja. The relics now look after me, through the power of my own heart. Others cannot disturb me now. That is the fruit of birth puja. In the 91 eons since I performed that puja back then, I've come to know no bad rebirth. That is the fruit of birth puja. In the 30th aeon ago, 34 lords of people, all named Suparakariya, were will-turning kings with great strength. The 4 analytical modes, and these 8 deliverances, 6 special knowledges mastered. I have done what the Buddha taught. Thus indeed Venerable Jatūpūjaka Thera spoke these verses. The legend of Jatūpūjaka Thera is finished. The summary: Parivāra, Sumaṅgala, Ekaśaniya, Citakapūjaka, Buddhasaṇñaka, Maggasāraṇika. 90 uttered verses are counted clearly in this part. The Mahāparivāra chapter, the 12th.